I was listening to a debate between Malcolm X and Bayard. What's his name? Rustin. I gotta pull up. I think it was Rustin. Bayard Rustin was his name. If we still have a producer, if you could pull up that video real quick for me, please. Yeah, it's Bayard Rustin.
Have
And
to
y'all still
find it.
put 5,000 white women going to
It's in,
them.
it's in the chat. It's in the chat. But I was listening to a lot of political conversation um over the past week, and I stumbled across this particular debate, and it felt poignant at two parts, and I thought it was kind of important for us to hear. Um, I'll let you know. I'm coming into Juneteenth hot. I just am. I don't know why I am. I feel
Oh,
extra
Jay.
blackety black. But yeah, so at about 17 minutes, right here's be a good spot to just start playing it. And I wanted to get y'all thoughts on this particular clip or these two particular sound bites real quick.
Who have been striving for freedom. And where over there, they can use the passive approach, which is sit down or sit in or rebel in that way. When you have in India, like Gandhi, where they had 300 or 400 million black people striving against a couple 100,000 white oppressors, then passiveness worked because all they had to do is stop, sit down. It's like an elephant sitting on a mouse or something. But here they are the majority, and the oppressor is the minority. Here in America, you got the black man is the minority. And when you call yourself sitting down on the white man, all he has to do is let you sit. He can get someone else to run his factory or whatever else he wants to do. But to sit there and use this so-called passive approach, we don't think it will work because we don't find any parallel. We don't find, for instance, anyone being encouraged to seek freedom in a passive way other than the so-called Negro here in America. Many of the whites who pose as liberals and act as advisors for Negroes tell them that be passive, be peaceful, turn the other cheek. But these same whites who encourage the so-called Negro to use the passive approach have never advocated a passive approach to throw off the yoke of bondage to any white groups of people who are in bondage. When they speak of the whites in Eastern Europe who are under the yoke, the Russian yoke, they don't tell them to be passive in their resistance. They feed them ammunition. They feed them guns. They make heroes out of the freedom fighters from Hungary. They make them great heroes. But when it comes to a black man, be he in Asia or Africa or in America, if he becomes militant in his resistance against oppression, then immediately he's classified as a fanatic. But if it's a white man or a white group or someone in a white country that's trying to throw off bondage, the propagandists label that one as a hero, and they label the dark people who are trying to resist this oppression, be it no matter what kind of resistance it is, they label them as fanatics, as racists, as extremists, or as rebels. So what it does, it makes the black man in America who would like to fight for his freedom or take a militant, uncompromising stand, it makes him reluctant or afraid to take that stand for fear that he'll place himself in this particular category. And I would like to say this, and also in answer to your question, that it is not the
Hey, he ain't even answered the question yet.
so-called this kind of movement and that kind of movement in America that's causing the white man to give an inch, and that's all he's giving is an inch. It's the pressure that the white man is under today from the outside world. He's not telling you and me that we might be integrated into his particular educational system or economic system 10 years from now. He's not promising it this year, 10 years from now or 20 years from now or even 50 years from now because he loves us. But he'll tell you every day. You listen to some of these political speeches. They're catering somewhat to you and me uh, only because they are in a position where they are forced to try and impress and gain the friendship or the sympathy of the African nations that are getting their independence. The white man today is posing as the leader of the so-called free world. And the only way he can be accepted as the leader of the so-called free world is to be accepted by the majority of the peoples on this earth, the majority of whom are non-white people. And they measure him by how he treats the non-white people here in America. And to impress them, he stands up and talks this old integration talk, which is hypocrisy. Not because
Go
he's
ahead and
going to
pause it, man.
integrate you and me, because we're
Go
in
ahead
a
and pause it.
position where
Because if we
they are.
waiting on Brother Malcolm
He's
to
not.
take a break in the
He's
bars that he drops, we would never be able to take a break. So this is in 1960. It is currently 2023. And you can draw direct parallels to what he is saying 63 years ago to what's going on today.
Mm-hmm.
We are currently in a situation where we are telling black countries, nations to
Peacefully, peacefully defend yourself. Don't fight. Don't be violent.
while we are bending over backwards, flirting with nuclear war,
Stop
supporting a
bloodshed.
country against so-called oppression from another country. But the difference is that this country happens to be a particularly white-centric white country that we just bend over backwards and give a shit ton of money to. We give a shit ton of weapons to, and we tell them to fight. We tell other people to be peaceful and to go about it in a diplomatic way. We tell other people to negotiate. We have not told Zelensky one time to negotiate with Russia.
Mm-hmm. Just give
We've
him a
been in
little
the
bit of your
way.
hand.
We've been in the way of the negotiations
These
because
motherfuckers
certain
got
people are cleared to fight for their freedom and certain people are not.
some serious goddamn bars right there.
Serious as
It's
a motherfucker.
yeah, that's Malcolm was a little bit ahead of his time.
Hey, look, not ahead of his time. He was talking about shit that was currently happening then. We sit here and we sit on people and we say that motherfucker was speaking shit that future shit. No, they were just speaking the presence of shit. They were speaking their actual reality, and
Mhm.
it's so fucked up that the positioning of us as a people is so stagnant that it sounds like a motherfucker was talking about the future 60 plus years ago because it's so pertinent to today. Because so little has changed in the midst.
Yeah, the
Every
only time
single beat of what he was talking about applies to what's happening directly today, right now.
people of color are given guns to fight is if they're fighting an enemy of the country already. Like, hey, y'all got beef with Iraq? Go, hey, I I don't like them niggas either. Y'all go ahead and shoot them up. Yeah, y'all gonna die, but mm, they'll be hurt.
But at the hands of white oppression, we act like we don't understand it, understand how to overcome oppression, we act like when it comes to white on non-white oppression, they act as though they don't know how to fight oppression. Because when it's that way, they say, be docile, peaceful, negotiate, talk it out. Diplomacy is the way. But when it's white on white, depending on if whoever we ally with, we tell them to fight. You need some guns, here they go. You need some missiles, here they go. You need some tanks, here they go. You need some jets, here they go. Whatever the fuck these people over there in Ukraine need, we give them. And we act as though we don't see their their racist ideology in full display. Like we haven't seen that in full display for years. We ignore it because we welcome it, we champion it.